everybody to another round of MandoLessons Live. Thank you all for tuning in. It looks like people are trickling in. It looks like it's working. Seems like people can hear me and see me. But if that's not the case, let me know at any point. All right. I got a wake-up call for Adam in Oregon. Maybe I should have played something a little more mellow to ease you into the day, but good morning and thanks for joining me. All right. Morning from Charlotte. Just getting dark in Ireland. All right. Shetland Islands. Cool. Very cool. That was a tune called, and Bill's back. Good to see you, Bill. That was a tune called Josie-O, a great old-time tune in the key of G. One of my favorites lately. It's a 3-part tune. I don't think I've made a lesson for it yet, but it's one that I should make a lesson for because it's one of my favorites. But yeah. So if you haven't been to one of these before, I play some tunes, people ask questions, and I answer them. I'm always excited to hear what you all are thinking about, what you're playing, where your music's taking you. And I love, if you got any questions about musical styles or gear or anything like that, I'm happy to do my best to answer and play some tunes. I'll take requests. I can only play them if I know them, but I'm happy to take them. And yeah, so thanks again to everyone who's joining in. All right, up to 40 people, at least by my count here. Great to see you all here. All right. Ireland, Yorkshire, England. I wonder if I get a higher percentage of people overseas if I'm doing it kind of midday in the U.S. Fisher's Hornpipe. That's a tune I can play. Cool. Cool. The Pelican 3 says Fisher's Hornpipe. Happy to oblige on that one. I'm going to actually just twist a knob here real quick. Nope, that's not the right one. Just going to brighten us up a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Just get a little more light on the mandolin. All right, Fisher's Hornpipe. There it is, Fisher's Hornpipe. Great tune. I haven't played that one in a while, but one of my favorites. All right, more people tuning in. Great to see you all. We got more England, Ireland, Yorkshire, Cambridge, more Cambridge. Can I teach you something for Christmas? I want to do that. It probably won't happen this year. I get requests every year. A lot of it has to do with kind of figuring out copyright stuff. I also just don't know a whole lot of Christmas stuff myself. But at some point, I would be happy, and I'm looking forward to making some kind of holiday-themed lessons, at least next year. But it might not happen this year. I've already got kind of all my stuff recorded and scheduled, but another year, definitely. I got a lot of requests for it, and I'll be happy to oblige next year. Minnesota, can I play Step It Out Mary? I can't. I've never heard. I don't know if that's a tune or a song. Sounds cool. I would like to learn it. Billy in the Low Ground. And we've got Meredith saying, hello from the hills of Southern California that aren't on fire. Glad to hear you're safe. Glad to hear your hills are not on fire. And Mike Marshall has a great Jingle Bells on YouTube. Very cool. Have to look that one up. I recommend everybody else look that up because Mike Marshall is awesome. Let's see, greetings from Spain. Thanks for joining us. Cool. Beginner, intermediate, advanced versions of Jingle Bells. I'll have to check that out. A little Old Dangerfield. I think I can remember how that tune goes. I've got a Billy in the Low Ground before that, but Going Across the Sea. Oh man, the requests are flying in. I'll see if I can get to some of these here. Love to learn a reel in A for a set I'm putting together. Cool. I can maybe play something at some point. What you can also do is you can sort the tunes on my site by both. You can sort them by key and by tune type. So you can sort them by reel or sort them by the key of A. Unfortunately, you can't do both. Maybe at some point I'll set it up so you can actually really narrow things down. But I'm sure you can find something in there, and I'll maybe try to throw something for you. Cool. All right, so before I start losing my mind here and forgetting what I'm doing, I'll play a little bit of Billy in the Low Ground. Key of C, great old time tune. There it is, Billy in the Low Ground. I'm just going to do a little chat cleanup here. Apologies for that. Cool. So there it is. Billy in the Low Ground. Great tune in the key of C. Thanks for that request. All right, got people coming in from Alabama. Awesome, all over the place. Glad to hear it. I can't remember. I can't pull up Old Dangerfield off the top of my head at this point. Maybe it'll come into my head at some point later down the line, and I'll happily pull it out then. Ooh, good question. What is my favorite album with a mandolin that came out this year or last? Oh, good questions. Well, there's a couple. Well, stuff I've really been enjoying lately. I can't remember exactly when it all came out. I've really been enjoying Foghorn String Band, which is Caleb Clowder, Reeb Wilms, Sammy. I can't remember, and his wife's name. Great old time band, but also in particular, Caleb and Reeb, two of the members, have some duo albums that are just spectacular. Great kind of old country, a little bit of bluegrass, a little old country, a little old time. Great music. And yeah, I've really been enjoying that. Mr. Sun is a great group with Joe Walsh playing mandolin, Daryl Anger playing fiddle, a bunch of other awesome folks. Things like that. I'll keep my brain on it. And if anything else pops into my head, I will let you know, as it's sometimes hard for me to pull up things on the spot. But yeah, Caleb and Reeb. Caleb Clowder is a great mandolin player. He's got a really nice style. I really love hearing him play and sing. Great stuff all around. Can I do On and On? I wish I could. I used to play that in the very first bluegrass band I was ever in. When I was still in high school, we did On and On. I can't remember it now, though. It's been too many years, but it'd be a good one to work up. Maybe I'll play another tune here. So I'll go back through and see if I can find. Maybe I'll play a tune. Got a request for a reel in the key of A that someone's trying to add to their repertoire. I'll see if I can pull up something in the key of A. That's a jig. A real key of A. One of my favorites is John Stenson's. It's a great kind of high-powered Irish reel, key of A. Sounds like this. And it's a great tune for sets. You know, a lot of times if I need to come up with a set right off the top of my head, this tune kind of works with all of them. It's a nice big kind of rise in energy. A great way to end a set of tunes. But works great in the middle too. But here it is. I'll stop talking about it and start playing it. If I can remember it. Here it is. Yeah, so that's John Stenson's, a great Irish tune, reel in the key of A. Adam pointed out, sounds a little bit like Ways of the World. That's true, it kind of does. That's a great tune. I don't know if I've got a lesson for John Stenson's. I do have a lesson for on my website. Ways of the World. I don't know if I've got a lesson for Ways of the World, but I'll play a little bit of it just so you can sort of hear the similarities. very similar. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, Ways of the World. That's very similar. That's a good observation. Kind of that A part is very similar to the John Stenson's. Do I know any of Andy Irvine's tunes? I sort of know some of them. I don't really feel like I can do him justice, just because he plays such beautiful music. He's one of my favorites. I love his style. I got to see him twice last year, or I guess it was in 2017, in this kind of late winter of this year. I think it was like February or something. I can't remember exactly, but it was awesome. I got to see him play twice. He was on the East Coast, and saw him 2 nights back to back, once in Boston, once in Portland, Maine, and great to see him do what he does. He's a total master. If any of you are not familiar with Andy Irvine, he's a mandolin, guitar, bouzouki, kind of everything player. Hurdy-gurdy. He's played a million different instruments over the years, but highly recommend checking him out. He's sort of total legend in the Irish music scene. Somebody up here asked me what kind of pick I use. I don't remember exactly where that was. Okay, from Ronnie Kraft, what kind of pick do I use? What I'm using, it's hard to see because all of the words have been worn off of it, but it's a Dunlop Prime Tone 1.5 millimeter big triangle. I used blue chips for a long time. I love blue chips, but these things came out, and I personally like them just as well as the blue chip. They're very similar, and they cost like $2 a piece versus 30, 35, whatever blue chips go for now. And I'm pretty good at losing picks, so I can buy these by the bundle and sleep better at night knowing I'm not losing $35 every time I put one of these down somewhere. I'm not, and just if we're talking about gear, I just want to say I'm not sponsored by anybody. Anything that I've got a little thing at the bottom of the description, but I buy all my own stuff and no sponsorships or advertising or anything. But yeah, I really do like these prime tones. They last quite a long time. I've got a bunch of them now, and I've never kind of worn through one. Versus kind of the thin picks. Well, I kind of use a bunch of different things depending on the instrument. For tenor guitar, I use these just Dunlop 0.6 millimeter little orange guitar picks. And they're just mostly not so much the material, maybe the material to some extent, but the thinness of them. I can kind of go through one of these if I'm playing hard for a couple hours in the night on a tenor guitar. I also just use kind of like Fender heavy guitar picks when I'm playing guitar or my other mandolin. I've got an old Gibson mandolin that yeah. So I've really, especially as time has gone on, I've really gotten a little more not experimental. I'm kind of using different picks for different. I used to just kind of use these whether I was playing guitar or mandolin or whatever. But I've really spent a little time. I think it's it's a pretty cheap way to like get a new sound and get a different feel from the instrument, especially if you're not buying blue chips or any of the like really expensive picks. But not to say they don't have merit. Those are great high quality products, and if you're into those, then by all means keep using them. What is a good way to pick out notes in a scale and create licks? From the Pelican 3. That's a good question. I think, the biggest way that I've done it, I think it depends on kind of the style. If you're thinking about a kind of like the bluegrass style, I think spending a lot of time listening to bluegrass mandolin players that you enjoy, just even if you're not like listening to them really closely, I think just spending some time, like a bunch of hours, whether you're doing the dishes or actually sitting down and listening closely, however it is you like to listen and however you can sneak it in, just kind of immersing yourself in that style, you'll start to kind of pick up the role of the mandolin and really what the mandolin players that you like to listen to are doing. And from there you can start, if you hear something particular from like Bill Monroe going like something like that, you can say, okay, I like that, I'm gonna slow that down. Or you hear from Sam Bush or from David Grisman. I mean, these are just I'm not really playing their styles at this point. I'm just kind of throwing out little ideas. But listen in closely. Once you sort of are immersed in that music for a little while, it'll be easier to pick out the particular licks and scale ideas and just sort of how different players approach the instrument. And then from there, you can use some like slowdown software. There's a great website called tunetranscribe.com that's totally free, and you can just upload any MP3 that you have on your computer, slow it down. You can also do the same thing to YouTube videos. If it's a YouTube video you found, YouTube allows you to slow it down to half speed and keep the audio right where it is. I've got some resources on my website on how to sort of make that happen if you're unfamiliar with playing or with slowing down music. But yeah, that's sort of my go-to thing, is listening to people, getting enough of a sense of a style from a particular player that you can sort of start saying like, okay, well, what would Bill Monroe do in this situation? What's something like what he would play? You can get there by just doing a lot of listening or breaking down some of his solos and some of his breaks. It's all kind of good, but I think kind of spending the time with it is the most important thing in my opinion. Dan says his A string is totally out due to weather on the regular. A strings are always, I don't know why, there's some magical force in the world that makes A strings not happy all the time. What mandolin am I playing just now? Could we hear the old Gibson? So this is an Ellis, built by Tom Ellis down in Austin, Texas. Again, no sponsorship. I bought this thing years and years ago. What is this, 2009, I think, and I bought it in 2009. I really like it. It's been with me everywhere. It's kind of a go-to mandolin. I like it a lot because it's sort of right in the middle. I can get away with playing Irish tunes on it, or bluegrass or old time, or a little bit of classical-y stuff, which I don't do much anymore. It's kind of middle of the road. It's not a super bluegrassy mandolin, and it's not, but at the same time you can play it. It's kind of like jack of all trades sort of mandolin. I really like that about it because I play a lot of different styles, and it's nice kind of having one mandolin that does a good job on all of that. The Gibson's in the other room. I think if you look back through my kind of library of tunes on YouTube, you can see where one of them I'm playing my Gibson. You can hear that. There's also, if you look up my name, Baron Collins Hill, you'll find my personal YouTube channel. I think I might have a recording of it over there, but honestly I can't remember now. Any thoughts on pickups from Steven? Just ordered one yesterday. Cool. I don't have a whole lot of experience with pickups. What I have always done, actually I have it right here. I'll grab it down. I've just got this Audio Technica kind of clip-on microphone. It's got a little battery pack here. And I just clip it on. I can show you. I just clip it onto the tailpiece. It's kind of slowly denting up the instrument a little bit, but you can also, if you have a tone guard, you can clip it to your tone guard or other places to clip it. You can get different mounts. But I just use that. I find it gives me a nice natural sound without a need for a preamp or anything like that. But that said, if I'm playing in louder or kind of more raucous environments, the microphone is more likely to feed back versus a pickup. I've been thinking about pickups lately just because I've got some friends that for a long time I felt that the kind of mandolin pickups really weren't. I was never hearing sounds that I was really wild about coming out of them, but I think they've gotten better as the years have gone by. And I've got some friends that are getting great sounds, and it's a little easier. You just plug in. It's very dependable. That microphone depends on mic placement, and I can kind of knock it and liable to feedback sometimes. But yeah, I'm curious what you ended up picking up after doing some research. Feel free to add that in if you're willing to share, but no pressure. Dan says Tune Transcriber looks awesome. Yeah, I was really excited to find that. It's there's some software like Amazing Slowdowner and Transcribe that you can buy, but it's not cheap. It's like $40 or $50, I think. And that website does a kind of the bulk of what I use it for. I think Amazing Slowdowner might have some kind of more full featured stuff, but for me, Tune Transcriber, just like slowing down tunes, is great. It does everything I need, and it's free, and it's online, and I can just point people right to it. Adam says, got my eye on a Duff, or a Collings mandolin. Those Duffs are great. I've only played a couple Duffs, and I've played a bunch of Collings. Collings are kind of one of my favorites. Come out of the same town as the Ellis, actually. Different shop, but they're good buddies, and Collings are great instruments all around. They actually currently have a tenor guitar of mine they're doing some work on. I've got a all mahogany tenor guitar, and I'm really looking forward to getting back. Sean Morris says, I got to see Usher's Island this year. Andy Irvin, Don Lunny, Patty Glacken, Michael McGoldrick, and John Doyle. Cool. That sounds like a great lineup. I'll have to check them out under that name. It's new to me. Okay, so Steven got a K&K twin internal. That's what one of my friends has that gets a great sound out of his. It's nice that you can keep it all on the inside. Dan says new Jeremy Kittle album has a mandolin. Cool. I wonder I'm curious who he's playing with. Jeremy's awesome. I'll check that out when it comes out. I haven't actually checked out the Chris Thiele and Brad Meldau. I don't know how to say Brad's last name. But cool, that's great. I've heard a couple things from a couple years ago when Chris and Brad were playing together, and it was a really cool sound. It's not every day you get to hear piano and mandolin, and they're kind of instruments that you don't always hear together, and or specifically kind of together as a duo. But I'll definitely check that out, because I think did they just come out with a new album? I think they might have. There's a lot of good music out there. It's nice to kind of think back on this as we're getting towards the end of December. Best mandolin albums of 2017. beginning of the year. Okay, so they came out with that beginning of the year. Cool. Maybe I'll play another tune here. Feel free to throw a suggestion in if you got one, but I'll look back, see if there's anything I can pull out, or I'll just make something up. Monaghan Jig. I can never remember how that tune goes. But at some point I'll learn it enough to someday I'll get that tune in my head. It's one of the ones that just I can never start. I know it, but I can't start it. Maybe I'll play Moon and Seven Stars. Yeah, so this is a tune that I just played. I just put out a lesson for earlier this week. Moon and Seven Stars. I think it's this one anyway. I do get Irish tunes mixed up in my head. A lovely jig. Key of D goes to an A chord at the beginning of the B part. Moon and Seven Stars, as far as I can remember. There's a Irish session in the town I live in on Thursdays, and so I was there, and I was trying to start that tune, but I couldn't, even though I just put out the lesson that day. That's a good one. Cool. Thanks, Dan. Thanks for showing up. Have a good rest of your day, and see you next time, if not before. Keep up the good work. Got a request for Cherokee Shuffle. I can definitely get that in there. Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything on the... Check out Nathan Livers. He plays with Michael Cleveland. Both friends of mine used to pick when I used to play banjo. Cool. Awesome. I will definitely do that. Nathan Livers. I can remember that. Cool. So, Cherokee Shuffle. Cool. I'll change it up a little bit on you. Maybe I'll do both. Well, actually, no, I'll just play the A version. There's a D version that's got an extra part. It's kind of more of an old-time version versus the Bluegrass version of Cherokee Shuffle. Does the Moon and Seven Stars lesson include double stops? I don't think it does. What I have is I've got a series on my website in the Techniques and Fundamentals section called adding double stops to your playing, or double stop series, or something like that. And I just kind of go through the process so that you can take that information, and once you've watched those lessons, and it might take a couple times through watching them to pick up on it, but then you can really start to add double stops to any tune you want that's on my website. And it's easier with tunes that are either a little slower or a little less notey. But really with double stops, what I recommend is just like, maybe watch those lessons and just start doing a lot of trial and error. It takes a little bit of time to kind of get your fingers used to kind of putting down other fingers, hitting other strings, things like that. But the more you do it, the better you get. So don't delay. Start today. Whoop, didn't mean that to rhyme, but there you have it. Cherokee Shuffle, key A. So yeah, there's a D version that's really beautiful, old time. Usually played a little more mellow than the kind of amped up A Cherokee Shuffle. It's got an extra part in it, but I'll play the A version now because I can't remember all those extra parts in the old time version. I got a little turned around at the end there, trying to add too many double stops after thinking about them. Got a little carried away and lost my place. Trying to hit an F sharp in the B part, down low. I've got that nice F sharp, but then I went up high and tried to do that again. And I want an F sharp minor there, so I could have gone. So in case you're wondering what I was, it's kind of nice to slow that down and work through it. But what I was doing, see if I can get this all propped up right. Ooh, that's going to be too loud, sorry. So that's my melody note. And I wanted an F sharp minor chord underneath that. So I added 6th fret with my ring finger, 4th fret with my, so on the G string, 6th fret, 4th fret with my middle finger on the D string, 6, 4, open A, and then that melody note, 2nd fret on the E string with my pointer. So we get. added some right hand, kind of starting on those low notes rather than I went. Kind of spread it out a little bit. So that was kind of my process. Just talk a little bit about those double stops since there was a question about those. All right, got a request for Cole Harbour Bend, one of my favorite tunes of all time. I think I put a lesson for that up on the website. If I didn't, it should go up. Can I talk from Steven? Can you talk about why a certain mandolin sounds more geared for bluegrass and others maybe for a different style? Yeah, definitely. So I think ultimately it's totally personal preference. That said, there kind of is, you see in bluegrass, you see a lot of F-hold mandolins versus oval hole. I'll tell you what I'll go grab that Gibson real quick. So I'll pull out the, whoops. Let's see here. Cool, I did put a lesson for Cole Harbour Bend out. So I'll do a little demonstration. I don't know how in tune this thing is. It's been under the bed since I went away for Thanksgiving, so it's probably, oh, not so bad. So this has just kind of got a sound. So you see a lot of F-hold mandolins, usually F style, which has the scroll and the points. But mostly kind of what you see, the most defining factor on a bluegrass mandolin is these F holes, and that just changes the sound a little bit. So you can really get this kind of percussive chop. I'll try not to overblow the speakers here, but and so you get that sort of somebody said homes across the Blue Ridge Mountains. I think that's it. I don't know any of the words. But let's so then I'll do that same sort of thing on the Gibson. So this is a oval, it's got the oval hole, and it's just a little more kind of ringy in general. It's a little less kind of forward percussive. It can do chops, but they're a little muddier. They're not quite as kind of direct sounding. Versus, again, the F hole. Oval hole. Yeah, it is. It's a very different sound. Oops, am I still? Just want to make sure I'm frozen on one of my screens. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I really love this mandolin, but I wouldn't necessarily play it for bluegrass. That said, people in the past have played oval hole mandolins for bluegrass totally effectively. I'm blanking on who off the top of my head. Maybe somebody can chime in if they know. But I love this thing for Irish tunes. This is this style mandolin you're more likely to see in Irish music or even old time music, just not so much in bluegrass. A little more ringy, a little more open. People describe it as tubby, kind of a little more thunky, maybe bassier. Yeah, I don't know how much like they're not actually going to have more bass because it's the same string. You're not actually going to get like lower notes, but it's there's something about that. I mean, they're not quite in tune with each other, but again, a quick little comparison. That's kind of the G string versus. So yeah, it's a little more kind of open down there. I don't really know how to. I'm not the best at describing different tones. Yeah, it's a nice Cattle in the Cane from the Pelican 3. It's another one that I can't quite remember how it goes. Yeah, so yeah, it's a different sound. I didn't have, I just got this maybe about a year ago. It's been a lot of fun to get to know a little bit. I'll play this one for a while. Question about the song Irish Washerwoman from Caligaro. Thank you for joining us. With the speed, it's possible to play the song with normal speed or fast. What's the right speed for the song? That's a great question. It depends. If you're just sitting around by yourself or with your friends playing music, the best speed to play is the speed that everybody's comfortable at. So you're not, leaving anybody behind and everybody's, comfortable and happy playing. If you're really ripping through and kind of not having fun because you're trying to adhere to a certain speed that you think it should be happening at, that's kind of just going to cause more problems than it solves. So really, whatever speed you feel comfortable at playing it. That said, if you're playing for dancing, I play a lot for contra dances, or you could be playing for some Irish traditional dancing. There's going to be a particular speed that's going to work best for that tune. So, how does Irish Washerwoman go? So, I just wanted to say thank you for that kind offer of welcoming me to Italy. I'd love to get to Italy at some point. I don't know when or if that'll happen, but I truly appreciate your offer. I'd love to come learn some Italian mandolin. That'd be super fun. But for the dancing that I play most for, often you want to be playing around 120 beats per minute, which sounds like this. Here's the metronome. So that's kind of faster than I personally, if you're playing for a really energetic dance, that might be a speed that you'd play that tune at. I personally like the first speed that I played. Like that's the speed that I'm comfortable and kind of having the most fun playing it at. It lets the tune breathe a little bit. But yeah, that's sort of, some people play the song slow, and then when they repeat it, they do it fast. Oh, so they just kind of speed up as they go. Yeah, I haven't heard that with that tune in particular, but there are some tunes that I've heard that done. Pelican, you're throwing out all these great tunes that I just can't start. Da, da, da. Um, I gotta brush up on kind of my bluegrass fiddle tune repertoire. Um, I should add that one. I don't know. Is that a Kenny Baker tune, or did he write that, or is that just a? I'm gonna make myself a little list here. Excuse me while I poke a couple buttons, just because I gotta write some of these down. Old Dangerfield and Road to Columbus, kind of the classic bluegrass tunes. I gotta. Road to Columbus. Old Danger. You know, a lot of these tunes are I'm unsure whether they were written by either Bill Monroe or Kenny Baker or any of those guys, or they might just be traditional. I don't really know. But I should definitely look into that because those are great tunes, kind of classic bluegrass repertoire, and I should put them on my site if I can. All right, Christopher's got to run. Thank you so much for joining us, and see you next time. Have a good day. I myself got to run in five or so minutes. So if you got, Cheyenne says it's a Bill. Hey, how you doing? It's he says it's a Bill Monroe tune. Yep, that's quite possible. I'm going back to Old Kentucky. There's a version of, I think it's, I'm going to look this up. I don't know that tune off the top of my head. There's a version on Bluegrass Mandolin Extravaganza. Yeah. How did that tune go? Yeah, on Bluegrass Mandolin Extravaganza, there's a great version of that. That Sam Bush playing mandolin, Del McCurry playing rhythm guitar, and it's so good. It's just like one of my favorite pieces of mandolin music ever made. Really straight ahead. They just kind of rip right through it. It's beautiful, short and sweet. So if you haven't heard that version, check out. It's a compilation called Bluegrass Mandolin Extravaganza, and it's just great. It's Sam Bush doing "I'm Going Back to Old Kentucky." Doesn't get any better. Cool. You know, old 70s Gumby Gibson. I've never heard them referred to that. Yeah, the 70s were kind of a dark time for Gibson mandolins, but maybe they were focusing more on electric guitars at that point. Morrison's Jig, that's a great Irish tune for a lesson. Yeah, I think it's on my list. I don't know, I haven't made it yet, but I think it's kind of close to the top of my list. I can't remember how it goes right now. It's one of those minor-y tunes. Will I be doing a live show next Saturday? I expect I will be. I still, this time noon on Saturdays works well for me. But that said, I also kind of want to mix it up a little bit in case other people, I'd like to try to see if I can sneak one in on like a weekday evening just to see if other people are around that can't make it on Saturdays. I know it doesn't work for everybody. But yeah, I'll definitely keep doing these. It's really fun. I really love hearing what everybody's kind of working on and interested about. But can I play Soldier Boy? I don't know Soldier Boy. I know Soldier's Joy. Do I know leading role for mandolin. I don't quite know what you mean by leading role for mandolin. Jerusalem Ridge, another great tune. I'm gonna avoid playing that. I do know that tune, but it is copyrighted because that is a Kenny Baker - Bill Monroe tune, and I don't want this video to get flagged, so I'm gonna steer away from that one. But that said, I am working on getting copyrighted material going because there's a lot of great tunes out there that I want to make lessons for. But a fan of Jamgrass. I haven't listened to as much Jamgrass lately. I used to listen to a lot of Yonder Mountain and Hot Butter Drum and that kind of stuff. I think, what are those guys called? Jesse Cobb's old band, String Dusters. I think they're kind of getting into Jamgrass land. But yeah, it's really cool stuff. I'm a little out of touch with that stuff, but it's great that there's so much of that out there. Yeah. Maybe I'll play one more tune here, answer a couple more questions, and call it a day. But let's see, what can I do here? I'll do Forked Deer. I'll do Forked Deer. That's a great tune. I think there's a lesson for this on my website, but there might not be. I feel like I could just have a little robot that says that because I've lost track. That's it. Soldier's Joy. Cool. I will play Soldier's Joy and Forked Deer. I need to remind myself how Soldier's Joy goes. I always get it mixed up with Liberty. That's not it. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll play Soldier's Joy into, make a little set out of it, into Forked Deer. Forked Deer. So, not the cleanest switch ever. Couldn't remember how Forked Deer goes in the middle there. But yeah, Soldier's Joy and Forked Deer. Both great old-time tunes. Well, I think that's about all the time I've got for today, but thank you all so much for joining in. Great to see you all. And see you next time, probably same time next week, Saturday at noon, EST, Eastern Standard Time, or whatever time that is in your part of the world. But yeah, have a great week. And thank you all so much for watching and supporting. And keep on playing. Go get your mandolins and pick a little on this weekend. Alrighty, have a good one. Signing off. See you soon.